Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I have Kyle here with me. Peckles with a zero on Instagram. He's a super talented artist, and we are here to break down some cool animation stuff from Unicorn Warriors. There's a lot of great things. Even the most recent episode, at the time of this filming, is episode 9. There's only one episode left for the grand finale of the season. I was freaking out on Wilson as a wolf bouncing around. The way he would the way he was animated,
Yes.
like bouncing around, I was just like, that's the coolest wolf cycle in the world, and I was loving it. By the way, just so you know, we have shirts at thebestnerdyshirts.com. This is a dragon shirt that Kyle designed. We have Lord of the Rings. We have a lot of fun, cool stuff. And every comment in these videos are entered to win a shirt at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month. We announce the winner at the beginning of the month, but we pick a winner from the month and then we just go down. So subscribe, get all the updates. Comment down below. Kyle, let's jump into Unicorn Warriors animation style.
Yeah. So I gotta say, for this episode, like whoever did the effects animation, okay. So I don't know exactly. It might have been just the team. So I know that Rashid Guindose, I'm probably butchering his name. He's the effects supervisor, or at least someone in Studio La Cache, right? Because they're the ones that primarily do the animation stuff. And phenomenal job. Just I don't know, like I noted, like especially when we start out the episode with that beast of the evil, right?
Yeah.
And then when they fight it, and then when Emma Melinda turns into that dark phoenix kind of,
Yeah.
like all the flame and like
Beautiful.
like magic stuff was amazing.
A lot of lightning bolt animation, especially
Yep.
when they go from eye to eye and the transferring of
Yes.
power and stuff like that. And also just going back to previous animations too, fantastic walk cycles in every episode. At the very beginning, we had a lot of the policemen. They remind me of like the Keystone Cops from the black and white animated movies. How they're all like like they're fumbling around and stuff. But man, the weight and timing, the walk cycles are just incredible. To even the expressions and the poses in the animations too are just over the top, fun and amazing. I love expressive stuff, and don't get me wrong, it takes more time to do expressive stuff because it means more drawings, and it means you have to add extra frames and you got to hold them longer, and it's much more complicated than just kind of using the same faces over and over again. So I really appreciate this, especially in a time where they're trying to do more limited stuff for more quantity over quality.
So I want to say though, to that point though, there was one thing I noticed, especially in this episode, and then I kind of looked back and it's kind of throughout, is that there's really I call it an economy of movement. They only move the characters, certain parts of the characters, when they need to. Otherwise, they're stills. So the one that's coming just off the top of my head right now is when Emma comes back at the end, and her parents, and her mother's head is like really expressing like Emma, but you see everything from her neck down is still, right? So only the parts of where we're focused on the screen is kind of like what's being moved. And then of course the dad isn't moving. He's like kind of in that shock, right? So, but it still carries all the like weight of the moment, right? So
and
they're
animating a lot of action in these.
Yes.
In these 20-minute short, like action takes a lot more frames too, because of obviously it's action. It's not just like two characters in a room sitting on a couch talking like Beavis and Butthead,
right?
Which is based more on writing than animation style, where this is relying heavily on animation for jokes and comic timing and also, I mean, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the story and the writing too, but the animation adds so much more to it because it's not just relying on the writing. Right. It's relying on the visuals too, which reminds me of like Avatar: Last Airbender. I loved how every time they're in a new location or there's new characters always being presented, a lot of fighting, and it's just, you know what I mean? And I always appreciate that. It's just it's so beautiful.
Like one thing, I was reading this and I didn't realize it at the time, and then I kind of like went back through Genndy Tartakovsky's work and I'm like, oh yeah, he really does do that. He's really known for his dramatic close-ups, where most other animated shows aren't known for that, right? Like
Yeah.
really like just kind of like right at the shoulders, like kind of like getting their
Mm,
expression and like kind of lingering on that moment, right?
yeah.
He's done a lot of that for his with his other animation, like of course with Samurai Jack, right?
Yes.
That's a huge
Mm.
one. So
Yeah, I'm trying
you
to
know,
think of other ones that would do that, and I know SpongeBob kind of does the close-ups, but it's like painted funny. Like it's like when
right,
his
like the
skin's
Ren and
so
Stimpy,
dried
yeah,
out. Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Have someone screaming in the background when there's like a huge hangnail or something. Yeah.
Great for comic timing stuff too.
Oh yeah.
So good, so good. And we can even break down all the characters and stuff, but I would just want to say they do a great job with weight and timing with their animation.
Oh yeah.
One thing, weight, you have a very mechanical, heavy Copernicus machine,
Mhm.
which obviously is going to move different than when he's holding onto the sword. Dimitri, is it
Right.
Dimitri? No, that's his
It's that's the body he's
that's the
inhabiting.
body. But
It's Edred.
Edred, when he's flying around with the sword, and the sword, and you can tell the weight is like the sword's able to lift him up, and the way he floats around to
Trillion of the
even
North.
like Emma too, with her weight and timing compared to when
Yep.
she's using her powers and she's not. Like when you see her fall through the building, she has that weight now of like a human
Yeah.
compared to her magical form, where
Right.
she can. Yeah, really, it's really impressive. It's
Yeah.
really impressive.
Like and you kind of mentioned it too. I think before we hit record, I think Winston's werewolf form.
Oh
So
yes,
so he's been great to watch because they made him so expressive, right? Like
yes.
because he's an expressive character in human form
Mm-hmm.
too. And they brought that sort of personality of the character over in the werewolf form, and it's just like when he's trying to think of a new name for Melinda Emma, right? Like
Oh,
the combined names like
Lemma.
Melinda, and like his eyes like can go boom, and then he's like like, and I'm just it was just hilarious to see that,
Yes.
like great acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic animation. We can't praise it enough. I want more animation series like this when it comes to quality of animation.
Oh
We've
yeah.
been doing, we know, I'm not saying we don't have a lot, but like lately we've been getting some good animation stuff. Obviously,
Yeah.
if we go to feature films, the Super Mario movie looked great in the way it was stylized and stuff. Really enjoy Into the Spider-Verse style of
I still
animation
gotta
and
see
stuff.
that.
We just did a review on the trailer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Obviously, those are 3D. What we're lacking is a lot of 2D, and like they're making more Avatar: Last Airbender
Mhm.
shows. Some of them are going to be full 3D, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I. Oh,
Really?
the 2D animation style is just so beautiful and unique, but obviously it must cost more because you gotta paint and ink and clean it up compared to just having a rig with
Mhm.
a cell shading on it, which could
Right.
be faster for turnaround time. And I mean, I think so because it's probably much more faster to animate a 3D character than it is a 2D character, maybe because I mean you got to do your sketching of it and stuff like that. Where now, I mean, from my own experience, I think so. But obviously, I'm not an amazing 2D animator. I'm a 3D animator, so I can't speak for the 2D animation design with timing and turnarounds and stuff like that. But there's just
The
something
thing,
so special about 2D animation.
yeah. I mean, the main thing with 3D animation is your characters are always on model. You never
Yes,
run a risk
that's
of
true.
going off model or like having to always maintain consistency
Yeah,
because the program does it for you.
but with that, a lot of times it's a lot stiffer.
Right?
Don't worry. I
Right.
mean, there are rigs out there now, and it's getting better. Where I mean, we watched that 3D Popeye animated short
Yeah.
during the live stream.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, you look
Yeah.
at Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball. You really get that cool 2D flexibility, extreme poses, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But that takes even longer to animate than something like I'm thinking of like the What If series from Disney Plus. It's like 3D. They have like the realistic human looking faces, and this is like, it just seems stiff because it's not
Mhm.
stylized in a way where it's just kind of like straight to DVD, like animation style. I don't know.
Right.
Or straight to
Right.
VHS tape, whatever generation you're from, or straight to Netflix. I mean, like whatever, whatever you want to call it. But I want more like Castlevania stuff. That was a beautiful 2D animated series on
Mhm.
Netflix, and I'm just very happy we got Primal this year, season 2, and now we have Unicorn Warriors. We are spoiled, and I'm so thankful for 2D animation stuff like this.
I want to say also, and this is kind of for both the other the last episode too, episode 8, but I think it's awesome. So because I think it was episode 8 where we got it was maybe episode 7 where we got the reveal of Winston being a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also the episode where we saw the Rakshasa.
Oh yeah,
first time. And
Tony
and I was
the Tiger.
I'm like, is this gonna be a Battle Beasts episode? Like, this is crazy, you know? And like, you know, I was, you know, me being curious, I looked it up and I'm like, okay, what is a Rakshasa, right? And it's a Hindu demon, basically. So they're in traditional Hindu mythology, they're a lot more malevolent. But this one seems to be a guardian
on a righteous path.
Yes, on a righteous. He's a protector, it seems.
And also, they're really playing with time there because there was a huge time jump when they went into. Anyways, that's breaking down the episode. This is just talking about animation. We do episodes review here too, so subscribe to get episode reviews if you guys like the show. We're gonna probably do a review on the last one and probably do a live stream the week after and just talk about it and love it so much too. Yes, finger up.
I've got one last thing. So this is more about character design, but I noticed this whenever the dude characters have their shirts off, primarily with Edred and Winston. So they're not drawn with a 6-pack, if you notice. Which is, you know, like, I mean, yeah, sure, okay, but like you know, they have this more like I would call like the classic physique, like from the 1920s and 30s strongmen, like not. Some of them had like a defined 6-pack, but a lot of it was just more of like a mass, right? And you'll notice with Winston, he just kind of got one solid slab for his stomach there, and then with Edred, you'll notice he's got like a 3-pack. It's like rows, right? Especially when the scene with Melinda, she's in his bedroom. Yeah, you can see the top of his first ab right there, and it's just one ab. Yeah, you know, so it's like, oh, that's interesting, you know, like with that.
He's also older too in that too. We're used to seeing him younger most of the time.
That's right. Right. We haven't seen young, hot Edred abs, so we don't know.
We have.
How old is he? Like in his adult form, like 30?
I thought he was shirtless in this last episode.
He had a hole blown in his.
He was. Yeah, he was. Right. I remember him being all sad,
when they were
shirtless. Yeah. And
I gotta go back and watch that scene.
Remember when they're like sitting in the cave and he's like all hunched over and sad?
You can't see his abs. I want to.
All right, Kyle, we'll leave you alone with his abs.
I don't know how I got on this track. But
comment down below if you want to see their abs too, like Kyle does. And then on that note, subscribe, comment down below so you're entered to win a shirt from the Best Nerdy Shirts. Go follow Kyle on Instagram, Pecos with a 0. He's a super talented artist. If you're into sci-fi, go follow him. It's a cool little side project sci-fi thing he's doing. It's so much fun. Go check it out. And we'll see you on the next AsArt.
Ka-chow.
Kyle likes 6-packs. That's all I got to say.
I guess. What can I say? Show him!
I'm more on the mindset, if you can't tone it, you tan it. But